Hi guys, so Boris Johnson was asked a few pointed questions by Sam Coates of Sky News, and you can clearly see how the Prime Minister's feathers have been ruffled.
The changes that you've announced today, particularly ending the 2-metre rule, only apply in England and not to Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. Why do you think that is? Are the leaders of the devolved governments making a political point, or just being glumbuckets and scaremongers? Or do they just think that the science, which hasn't really been published behind this decision, doesn't support the conclusions you've made today?
And he's making very valid points here. So the government in Scotland, the government in Wales have been continually insulted by the Conservative Party, not so much by the Prime Minister, but because he needs to allow someone else to do it. But they have those two governments have been insulted on a continuous basis by the Conservative Party, by backbenchers, by ministers themselves, that they're not on board, they're not willing to take the risks necessary, they're not willing to follow Westminster's rule. So this is an important thing to remember. But let's get to the Boris Johnson's response.
And to Patrick Vallance and Chris Whitty, you've been absolutely crystal clear that the risks from coronavirus haven't gone away, and your tone is noticeably more cautious than the Prime Minister. Firstly, how worried are you that the public reaction to this overall package might cause an uptick in transmission? And could you just put on record, do you both personally support the whole package, including the 2-metre thing, the 2-metre rule change? And did SAGE officially, fully approve the whole package of changes?
And of course, SAGE doesn't sign off on anything. They give certain advice to the government, and the government cherry pick what they like from it.
Well, Sam, I think I'm respectfully going to dissent from your characterisation of my tone today. I think I've been absolutely ruthlessly even-handed in the way that I've set this out. There is progress that we are making, important changes that we're able to make to begin the opening up of the economy. But I think I could not have been clearer that we must be cautious.
So this isn't all of the interview. This isn't all of the press conference. But earlier in the press conference, Boris Johnson was saying, yes, we're going to, in a way, celebrate the 4th of July, but not celebrate it too much. It's going to be a great day, but don't celebrate it too much. By building it up, you're already encouraging people to celebrate. Yes, it's the end of the lockdown. The war has been won. The virus has been defeated. This is the type of message that people are getting from this. They're reading between the lines. This is about protecting Boris Johnson. It's not about protecting people.
And you'll have heard all the things that we've said about maintaining social distancing, all the mitigations for getting down to 1 metre where you can't do 2 metres. I think people will get the necessity for...
But the R number is still increasing in parts of England. The number of new cases and the number of new deaths are not down sufficiently. There were 150 people died in the UK yesterday or the day before. So the numbers are still too high. And the number of new cases are still extremely high. So at what stage, you're easing the lockdown while there's still a spread of the virus in the general population.
Progressing with caution, which is what I'm recommending. On the 4 nations, look, all 4 CMOs, all 4 chief medical officers across all 4 home nations came together to agree the change in the alert level from 4 to 3,
Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. If the chief medical officers of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland all agreed, then why is Wales and Scotland not following these rules or not deciding to ease the lockdown in the same way England is?
There's far more harmony, believe me, between our approaches than you might sometimes pick up from some of the way it is presented across the scene. And
so are you saying that your MPs are lying? Or are you saying that the First Minister of Scotland and the First Minister of Wales is lying also when they say, no, we are going in a different direction?
I've no doubt that the UK will continue to advance in the same direction and at more or less the same pace. So obviously, as I said earlier, it is up to devolved administrations to make their own dispensations and make their own cases.
So it's not a unified front. They're allowed to make up their own case. They're allowed to make their own cases. So which is it, Boris? Is it you're unified or you're not unified? We're going in one direction or we're going in different directions. Now, I think the Welsh and the Scottish governments are taking the right approach. It's more cautious. And I'm not saying this because I don't like Boris Johnson. I just feel that the number of new cases are still too high. The measures to decrease the social distancing limit from 2 to 1 meter is not a good approach. I think it's still taking too many risks. And what is the motivation here? Is it about protecting lives or is it about reopening businesses? It seems to me about reopening businesses. Boris Johnson today was in Parliament, and as he talked about reopening businesses, he was receiving cheers from backbenchers. They were not cheering him when he was talking about what the NHS needs to be doing or what they are doing to suppress the virus until recently. No, they were cheering that businesses will reopen. He was talking about pubs reopening and restaurants reopening, and they were cheering for that. That is where their motivation lies. That's where their voting base lies. They want to keep the voters happy, not to keep them safe. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. Why not become a Patreon and enjoy access to our Discord server where we share news, chat, and have some fun? If you become a patron, you can also make video suggestions on topics that are important to you. Check it out via the link in the description.